Again, today I'm going to be going through my top 10 most iconic footy cards, or cards I think are going to hold their value in the future and go up. But firstly, before I go through my top 10, just a couple things before I start. Firstly, I'm only into modern footy cards, so that's 2000 onwards. That's the kind of footy I watched and the era I watched, so I'm not really into older cards. I know some people love the vintage Scanlon stuff. I don't really know anything about that. I know Lee Matthews and Gary Ablett cards are pretty sought after, but yeah, I'm not hugely interested in that at the moment. The second thing is I'm pretty much only interested in rookie cards or draft cards, and some people might think that's silly because there's some pretty cool high-end cards in the footy hobby, which is true. And a couple of them are, for example, the triple signature from 2004 with Rashudo, Goods and Buckley. That's a pretty amazing card, and obviously I'd want that myself, but I just don't think the long-term investability is quite the same. But yeah, I think the price point of those cards start out so high that it's hard to go anywhere from there, whereas the draft and rookie cards start out low and there's just lots of unknowns and they grow organically as the players' careers go on. Whereas lots of these high-end cards, they start out so high because they produce them when a player's already good. In saying that, I'm going to mention a couple of those higher end cards which I think are pretty cool but aren't going to make my list. The first one is the 2008 Gary Ablett signature, the MVP signature. That's his first signature card in the AFL, so although it's not his draft or rookie card, I still think it's a pretty historical card which I think will go up in the future, and I think it's a super sweet card. The second ones are the Captain signature series, which I know are very sought after. They first started in the early 2000s and they've been brought back a couple times, but I know lots of people love those. I'm not as huge in them, but I just like to point out before I get started. So, to start the list, these three, I thought I'd put three cards at number 10, with the first one being Joel Selwood's rookie signature, draft pick signature, the second one being Matthew Pavlich's, and the third one, I just forgot for a second there, but the third one is Luke Hodges' draft pick signature, which is out of 225. So I put these three because I think they're just slightly below the legendary status. Obviously, people would put Hodge in the legendary status, but I'm talking about individual greatness, not team greatness. So I think these cards will be extremely sought after in the future, and they already are. But I don't think they quite have what the other 9 players in this list have. So I'm going to move straight on to number 9 in that case, which is Nick Riewoldt's draft pick signature. This is numbered out of 770, but don't let this fool you. This is a very rare card and amazing looking card. I actually have this one myself, so yeah, it's a card I've been looking for and wanting to get for a while. The cool thing I want to say about this card is people see the 770 and think, well, it's not a rare card, why would I want it? But they forget that when these cards were released, these were like very early in the draft pick signature series, so they were kind of still feeling it out, and it was the only rookie card these players had. So Riewoldt didn't have multiple series putting out rookie cards and then signatures and then parallels of any signatures, or he didn't have any of that. He just had one signature. And if you compare this to someone like Dustin Martin, who obviously is very sought after, he has the 400 signature cards, he has the 200 draft pick platinum cards, and then he has about another 1,000 of those rookie cards that came in the Champions other set, the cheaper set. So he has about 1,500 cards, and just because his signature is limited to 400 doesn't mean he doesn't have, when you look at it in a holistic way, he has more draft cards than Riewoldt does. So pretty much a tip that I'd give is don't look too much into the numbers, try to look holistically at a player's base, or like collecting base that they have, and yeah, look at it that way. So number 9, Nick Riewoldt, amazing card. Number 8, and lots of people will probably think this is way too low, and that's probably fair enough because it's a classic, is Chris Judd's draft pick signature from 2002, and this is the gold version, numbered out of 225. Now this one doesn't have the same problem as the Riewoldt, it's out of 225, not 770, but just what I was saying about the Riewoldt, it actually has a parallel which is numbered much higher. I can't remember off the top of my head, it's somewhere from 500 to 800 cards in that parallel. So really, when you think about it, Judd has just as many, or if not more, draft pick signatures than Riewoldt. It's just that this specific card's numbered lower, and for that reason I think it is cooler and rarer, and I'd value it higher. I actually have this card as well, amazing looking card, and it's just a classic player. Judd's obviously up there, I think in probably the top 3 players of the last 20 years, him, Ablett and Franklin. So moving on to number 7, I have a player who's the hottest collector's item right now, and he will continue to be for a while, is Dustin Martin. And the reason he's this low is because they've decided to put 2 of his cards in where everyone else has only got 1 of their cards in. And this goes back to what I was saying. He has a few really cool and expensive rookie cards. But his 2 best ones are the draft pick signature. So that's coming in at number 7. This is probably the most sought after rookie card in the game. And it goes for about $600 to $700 online, and I can only really see it going up from there. So it's really cool. However, coming in number 6 is his draft pick platinum, which I prefer. I know lots of people love the signatures, but I just think having a card which is rarer. These are out of 200 and the signatures out of 400, but these are rarer, and I think they look clean. They've got nothing on them, and no one's tampered with them in signature, even if it's the player themselves. I think they're just a super clean card, and I love the platinum look to them. And this is just a personal thing to me, but I love this card. And much like the next card I'm going to have on the list, which is the Dangerfield Platinum Draft Pick out of 100. So this came out in the 2008 Select Classic set, and it came out with 400 signatures, the gold signature, and then 100 more, which is the platinum one, which is the rare one. And I'm lucky enough to have one of these Dangerfield Platinum signatures, and it's an amazing card. The only thing, I have seen some really good signatures, and I have seen some really bad signatures, so that's something else I'd like to watch for. I actually saw one on eBay recently, and it was up for $200, but it had the worst signature I've seen. It was absolutely horrible. It was completely broken in parts and just missed half the signature. So personally, I didn't want to buy that one. I think lots of people were the same, because they went for about $200, where I'd expect a nice looking signature to go for a lot more. But this is my top 5 card in the hobby. I think he's a legend of the game. I think he should have won 2 or 3 Brownlows. Hopefully he can get another one before his career finishes, but either way, I think he'll be looked at as a legend in the long term. Number 4, I'm doing Lance Franklin's Platinum Draft Pick die cut. This is from 2005 Dynasty, which is clearly one of the classic sets of AFL. I wish I could get a box or get my hands on the case or something, but they're pretty hard to come by these days and pretty expensive. But this card itself is my favourite looking card I've got. I've got this one, and it's numbered out of 130. I think it's just an amazing looking card. Probably my favourite footy card of all time. But I'd have it on number 4 on this list, because I think there's a few more which are rarer or will be more significant now or in the future. But for this one, yeah, I just love the photo on it. Obviously, Buddy just looks so young. And yeah, got a big smile on his face, so it's a good, fun card. He also has a draft pick signature, but that one's numbered out as 600, and personally I just don't think it looks as good as well. But the funny thing is that one sometimes sells for more than this one, so it's just personal preference. Number 3, so we're getting into the big boys, and these are all actually modern players, or more modern than most of the rest of the list, and it's kind of funny how that works out. But I feel like Select really cottoned on more recently that producing rarer cards means more people are interested, which brings more people to the hobby and drives prices up, and then more people buy boxes and yada yada. But recently I think they've been doing that a bit distastefully, making lots of junk cards numbered and trying to make everything rare. But for these examples, they did a great job, or for some of them, for one of them at least, they didn't even try to do this, it just kind of happened. So we'll go on to that a bit later. But number 3 on the list is Bontempelli's gold signature, and I can't really say draft because this was a pre-draft one. This is from 2013 Future Force. So when you think about it, this is just amazing. This is really cool because this is before he was drafted. So not only did they have to choose someone that they, through the draft pick that they thought was going to be a decent player, it was before the draft. Obviously he was a gun at junior level, but still to have a card, because lots of the other people in the set didn't go on to do anything. So Cripps was in his same year, and Cripps didn't have a card in that set, so it's just awesome that Bond has one. And this is the lowest numbered card of an AFL legend or soon to be legend on the list or in existence. This is numbered out of 40, and that just makes it unbelievably rare. One just sold for $620 on eBay, and to be honest, I think that's a pretty good price. I'm a bit conservative, so I wouldn't spend just quite that, but I was pretty close, to be honest, and I really, really want this card in the future. Okay, so I'll move on to number 2, and as I alluded to, Cripps is also a huge player from that year, and he doesn't have a Future Force signature, but he does have a draft pick signature, and this is interesting because he's kind of slipped through the cracks in the select production line, because that's his only draft card. He doesn't have any parallels, he doesn't have a rookie card or anything. This is his only draft card, and this is why I've got it so high on the list, even though the players beforehand have more legendary status, because he only has 400 of these cards, and he's an insanely popular player. He's become a superstar, and he's young captain. He's really got it all, and he's got the X factor. And if you compare it to Bontempelli, people might look at this and go, well, Cripps' signature is going for $600, but there's 400 made, but Bontempelli's got 400 made, that's only going for 150 now. Why is this? And that's because this is Cripps' only card, whereas Bontempelli has 400 draft pick signatures and 200 red signatures in the Future Force and 40 gold ones. So not only is this not Bontempelli's best card, the draft pick signature 400, it's arguably his third best card, so it's not really that desirable for a collectible for me. I wouldn't really be paying up for his Bontempelli's signature numbered out of 400. I'd much rather pay up, even if it's more, and get the super rare ones. So that's number 2, Cripps, and this card has really shot up recently. It's kind of funny because I put a post in a Facebook group saying I want to buy one of these for $150, because I thought that's what people were selling them for not only about a month ago, and now I saw multiple go on eBay for over 500. So it's pretty funny how that works sometimes. And that leads us into number 1, which is very much in the same vein as the Cripps, and that's the Nat 5 Draft Pick Platinum. This is also from 2010 Select Prestige, the same release as the Dustin Martin. But the difference here is, even though 5's not as big a player, arguably is a smaller popularity or status player than nearly everyone else on the list. But this is his only draft card, and it's out of 200. So there's only 200 of these to go around. He's a dual Brownlow medalist. He plays for a team, Fremantle, which is very collectible, especially in the clothes scene or in the memorabilia scene, because of the colours and the heritage. And, they just have very strong supporters. So for this card not to be worth just a whole boatload right now is very surprising to me. And yes, some personal bias does come into it as well, because I just love to look at these die-cut cards. But I think, to be honest, I didn't really want to put this on the list because I think it's a bit of a hidden gem and I don't want to give it away. But if anyone has one of these, I'd love to buy it. I've seen the last 2 go for $150 online, but I mean, I'm more than happy to pay $200 if someone's offering them to me. I'm not sure what it would go for on the open market right now. But this is, for me, the best value, number 1. Number 2, it has the best growth potential. And number 3, it will be the rarest legendary football player card in the future. So that's my top 10. I'd love to hear what everyone else thinks, especially kind of like obscure picks, because I know that there are some obscure players who are also cool, and people who are coming up the ranks, and people who are kind of forging legacies. I've been thinking about Nick Natanui and how he's going to be seen from a historical scope. I think he's a pretty iconic player and really loved player in the game. So yeah, just things like that. I'd love to hear what people think. Anyway, I'll catch you next video and hope you enjoyed.